Good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Good
Yes,
morning.
sir. Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. I'll be starting my session in another 2 minutes since I see the students are joining. And we will talk about the concept of marketing channel, especially the responsibilities of the channel members, how to evaluate the various alternatives in marketing channel decisions. This would be our topic for today. So here we go. Once again, welcome everyone to my session of marketing management. And today we will talk about the concept of marketing channel decisions. And let's go straight to the topic. Can you see the PowerPoint screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you. So I discussed with you previously that this marketing channel is the third P of marketing mix, which we call it as place. And the significance of marketing channel is they provide a mechanism through which you can successfully do your business. It is the third P in marketing, very critical for the success of any business. Place is basically all about how to reach the customers, and it is sometimes also referred to as distribution channel or the trade channel. So marketing channel, if in short, in previous lecture I mentioned that they are the set of interdependent organizations involved in the process of making a product or a service available for the use or consumption of the consumers or the customers. It is a set of mechanisms or the network via which the firm goes to the market. It serves mainly four functions, which I explained last time: demand generation, demand fulfillment, after sales service, and then collecting the feedback for the strategic development. So, today let us understand this concept first of all. What are the responsibilities of the channel members? Channel members here means the intermediaries. Every intermediary is responsible for promoting the product and for the success of any business. As I just said, the channel helps to generate the demand for the company, and the company then fulfills the demand and also provides after sales service through them. It also helps in giving the information and the feedback to the company from the customers. So as you can see from over here on the screen, there are four major functions or the responsibilities of the channel members. These are pricing policies, conditions of sales, territorial rights, and then service provided by each party. Price policy means every channel member has got a certain particular price at which the previous channel member gives the goods and services for credit to the next channel member. Now, pricing policy also indicates that the credit policy, the discount terms, like for example, cash discount or the trade discount, the overall period for which the credit can be given, all these things comes under the pricing policy. Now, it is the retailer who gives the credit to the end customer, but retailer gets the credit from the distributor. Distributor gets the credit from the manufacturer. So the pricing policy sets the equilibrium in the entire business, and everyone has that particular limit and the authority in which they can provide the credit to the next channel partner or to the customers. Conditions of sales means, uh, for example, you are the retailer and you have to sell the products to the end customers. In that case, the customers can buy in assortments in small quantities also. But as a retailer, when you are purchasing from the distributor, the condition of sales are different. Means there would be a period for which the credit limit would be given. Then at the same time, some amount would be given in the form of cash. Then at the same time, you need to purchase in some slightly bulk quantity as compared to the end customers, because as a distributor they may not be able to incur the profit if they keep on selling the small number of units to the retailers. So retailers are being encouraged to purchase in bulk quantities. So if there is a dealer of any air conditioner company, for example LG, they have to first of all purchase the AC from the distributor of that region in at least multiples of 100 or 200s that will lie in their warehouse. Some of the ACs were put in the display in the showroom, while others will remain there in the warehouse. So these are the conditions of sale with every manufacturer, with every distributor, every retailer, and so on. Territorial right means, as you know, that in one particular area, generally the company does not give the dealership to many players. For example, Hyundai, this particular automobile company, they have a clear-cut policy that they won't give the dealership to any particular customer of theirs within 4 kilometer of radius where the other dealership is already existing. So this criteria is very good because it gives the opportunity to the dealers to target on their market and can generate the profits for the particular from the entire business. So territorial rights are there. One distributor who is active in Kolhapur area will not be allowed to sell the products in Pune area. Every particular distributor or the marketing channel members have their territorial rights in which they have to do the business. Last one is services provided by each party. As we all know that when their goods are returned, it goes from the customer to the retailer, from retailer to the distributor, from distributor it goes to the manufacturer. Then other services includes the after sale service. It is the retailer or the dealer who gives the after sale service because they are the end point where the customer gets connected to the company's brands. So they are providing the after sale services. So this is one. The other service is your installation, demonstration services, any customer complaint handling services. All these things are simultaneously being taken care of by the channel members. So as we can see, the major responsibility of the channel members are here, that is pricing policy, setting the pricing, fixing the particular rates, uh, then considering the discounted pricing also, finalizing the quoted price or the list price, and then all these things have to be incorporated, which we call it as a seasonal changes. In a season, you can sell your product at a particular price higher than the margin, but off season you cannot sell at a higher price, so you need to discount, and for that the discounts should be given first of all by the distributor or by the company to the dealer. Then only the retailer or the dealer would be in a position to offer the discount to the customer. So all these things comes under the pricing policy. Conditions of sale I explained you, territorial right I explained you, and then services provided by each party I have explained you. Moving ahead, let us understand how to evaluate the major channel alternatives. Evaluation of major channel alternatives means you have got n number of options available, like direct marketing channels, then indirect marketing channel, which includes level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4 and onwards. So what particular channel type you need to have, or in other words, alternatively the companies have to first of all evaluate every channel alternative based on the cost, based on the profitability and based on the attractiveness, and then only they decide on to use that marketing channel to reach the customers. As I explained you, there are direct level of channel for consumer goods and business goods, and indirect level of channels, which includes the intermediaries, which are retailers, carrying and forwarding agents, wholesalers, then distributors. All these are the channel members. So when we talk about the entire channel functions and the flow, so marketing channel performs the work of moving the goods from the producer to the consumers. It overcomes the time, place and position gaps which separate the goods and services from those who need or want them. So as I just said, there are three major uh, alternatives to evaluate the attractiveness of your particular channel. These are economic criteria, control criteria, and then finally the adaptive criteria. So let's understand one by one what these criteria are. Economic criteria, basically the company or the manufacturer, they compare the likely sales cost and the profitability of different channel members. Based on that, they decide how many channel members are going to be there in their distribution channel or in their marketing channel. For example, fast moving consumer goods company, the margins are less but the volumes are high. At the same time, the market coverage has to be there, otherwise you will not be able to get the profitability. For that reason, the economic criteria has been considered. Sales cost can be reduced only when if the total volume is increased, then only you can get the economies of scale, and then only you can maximize the revenue. So in case of FMCG products, the economic criteria is considered to manufacture to maximize the sales revenue and reduce the sales cost and improve the profitability of the channel members by having more number of players, giving them more territorial rights, and then they will be working for them. For example, Patanjali, they have their distributor for PCMC region and PMC region. The PCMC region distributor will not interfere in the business of the PMC region distributors. So if somebody has to open a Patanjali retail store in Bhosri area or Chakan area or in Chinchwad area, the same distributor of PCMC would be contacted. The person will not be contacting the distributor of PMC region. So why? Because the company knows that every channel member has to be given the control of their market. Otherwise, if you only create the competition for your channel partners, then they will not be able to get the profitability from the business. Ultimately, they will further just stop the business from the company. So this is what called as the control criteria. It refers to channel members' control over the marketing of the product. So the PMC distributor will look after the distribution and expansion of the market in PMC region for the Patanjali, and the PCMC region's distributor will be looking after for the PCMC region for the market expansion, providing the dealership, retail stores, counters, whatever. Now, control criteria, another example of Patanjali is, in case of Patanjali, they have two models. One model tells that you can open an exclusive Patanjali store and you can become a dealer if you invest minimum 10 lakh rupees. At that time, they will give you the 10% discount throughout the time when you do the business with the Patanjali. There is another model which says that you can have a medical store, you can have any other kirana store, grocery store, and you can simultaneously keep one counter or two counters for the Patanjali, but for that the investment will be lesser than the franchisees. So these are called as the franchisee business models, wherein you are just paying 5 lakh rupees and the distributor is giving you the Patanjali products, which you are keeping, against which you are getting at 5% commission. So 10% margin is given to the retailers who invest 10 lakh rupees and are in a position to always order the Patanjali products not less than 5 to 6 lakhs. And the Patanjali has the particular time limit also. You cannot say that ki last year I have ordered for 10 lakh rupees, now I will not order for 10 lakh rupees, I will order only for 5 lakh. It will not happen in case if you go for the exclusive Patanjali distribution rights. In case if you want to become a distributor of Patanjali, then you need to invest minimum 50 lakh to 10 crore rupees. This is the amount of investment to enter into the business and to become the distributor of Patanjali. 50 lakh is for the rural regions, and for the cities, for the towns, for the metro cities, the amount of investment is 10 crores. Now, adaptive criteria refers to the ability to remain flexible to adapt to the environmental changes. For example, when the business is high, when the sales are high, that time you can increase the number of channel members. For example, during the festival season, when the demand for the flowers is high, people, the organization keep more number of people or the intermediaries to distribute the flowers to every corner of the city. But when the demand is low, that time you should not have those number of people. So adaptive criteria tells that depends upon the manufacturing, the demand and the supply situation, you can keep the number of players in the particular marketing channels. If the particular business does not require large number of players, reduce it as compared to the competitors. So this is how we are adapting as compared to the competitor, as compared to the market demands and supply situation. So these are the three major criteria which are important for evaluating the major channel alternatives. Is it clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Any confusion, any doubts, any issues?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Okay, fine. I'm moving ahead now. Before we go to the concept of retailing, let us first of all understand what is meant by exclusive distribution and intensive distribution. See, exclusive distribution strategy is generally followed in the case of two-wheelers, four-wheelers and consumer electronics. It is also been seen in case of men's and women's apparel brands besides other products. Now, exclusive distribution में क्या होता है, एक मार्केट चैनल मेंबर जो भी है, डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर कह लीजिए या रिटेलर कह लीजिए, वो उसी ब्रांड की चीज़ों को, प्रोडक्ट्स को सेल करता है, उसके अलावा वो कुछ और कोई दूसरा ब्रांड सेल नहीं करेगा. एप्पल के एक्सक्लूसिव स्टोर होते हैं, आई स्टोर, राइट. डेल के एक्सक्लूसिव स्टोर्स होते हैं. मेंस एंड वुमेन्स अपैरल ब्रांड्स होते हैं, जैसे जारा फॉर एग्जांपल, लुई फिलिप, पीटर इंग्लैंड. ये सब अपने ही ब्रांड्स को प्रमोट करते हैं, इसके अलावा दूसरा किसी भी ब्रांड को अलाउ नहीं करते. इस केस में अगर आप फ्रेंचाइजी भी लेते हैं तो ब्रांड आपको एक्सक्लूसिव रिटेल स्टोर की तभी परमिशन देगा जब आप केवल उसी के ही प्रोडक्ट्स को रखेंगे, उसी के ही अपैरल्स को रखेंगे. So the company can provide the best customer experience through this exclusive distribution network. For example, the BMW, Mercedes, Porsche, Maruti Suzuki, Hero Honda, Gucci, Bose, they try to give the best of the sales and service support to the customers. Fast food companies like McDonald's, Pizza Hut and Domino's Pizza, they also go for the exclusive distribution through their franchisees. Talking about the intensive distribution is just the opposite of what we have just learnt now. The company tries to sell their products through many channels to get more market share. It works well in the low cost and low involvement products, and most of the convenience goods like जो ग्रोसरी आइटम है, राइट, किराना की दुकान में आप जाते हो, आप इधर से भी वही प्रोडक्ट्स ले सकते हो, दूसरी जगह पे भी वही ले सकते हो. उसको इसीलिए बोला गया है कन्वीनियंस गुड्स, कि आप आपकी कन्वीनियंस के हिसाब से खरीदते हो. रेजर फॉर एग्जांपल, शेविंग क्रीम, ये सब एग्जांपल है. उसके बाद आपके घर में यूज होने वाला टॉयलेट क्लीनर, फिनाइल, उसके बाद पर्सनल केयर में आपके परफ्यूम्स, स्किन केयर प्रोडक्ट्स, उसके बाद सोप.
Yes, sir.
There was a power failure issue. I was actually trying to ask you the same. I don't know. Probably my voice was not audible. Okay. So I've shared the PowerPoint presentation with you once again. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So I was explaining you regarding the distribution channels, and I have explained you the concept of exclusive distribution. In this arrangement, the dealers agree not to sell the competing brands to maintain the exclusivity. I give you the examples also. Pizza Hut, McDonald's, BMW, Mercedes, to provide the best sales experience as well as to just focus on the customers, companies go for the exclusive distribution. This strategy is being used when the company wants to have the control over the service level and the service output offered by the reseller. Most of the auto industries, women apparel industry, they use this approach. The next one is called as the selective distribution. This approach relies on uh, the fact that the company wants to maximize the market share. And in order to maximize the market share, this is just opposite of the exclusive distribution. The company tries to sell their products through many channels to get more market share. It works well in the low cost and low involvement products where the consumer भी मैंने ये तीन इंपॉर्टेंट डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन चैनल्स बताए, एक्सटेंसिव, इंटेंसिव एंड सेलेक्टिव. ये आप लोगों को समझ में आया? एक्सक्लूसिव, सेलेक्टिव एंड इंटेंसिव क्लियर हुआ आप लोगों को? हेलो, इज द पॉइंट क्लियर टू ऑल?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So I explained you regarding the channel responsibilities. I also talked about the economic criteria called as retailer, which means to cut a piece or to break the bulk. Retailing is basically selling the products in smaller quantity to the end customers. Retailing is defined as the conclusive set of activities or the steps which are used to sell the product or service to the consumers for their personal or family use. It means the retailer will always sell to the end consumer. Retailer will never sell to the business to business consumers. Retailer will sell to the consumer who is going to use the product either for his or her personal consumption or for somebody else's personal consumption in their family, in their friend circle, in their neighborhood or whatever. So these are called as the retailer. Talking about retailing function, it consists of the sale and all activities directly related to the sales of goods and services to the ultimate consumers for their personal and non-business use. In commerce, retailers buys the goods and products in large quantities from the manufacturers or importers, either directly through the wholesalers and then selling in smaller quantities to the consumers. So let's see, retailers create a balance between the particular market and the particular company. They are also one of the intermediaries through which the information and feedback flows to the manufacturer. So whatever the information and the feedback is there from the consumer's end, that goes to the supplier. They incorporate those feedback, they develop their products and then they offer it through the retailer to the end customers. So retailer act as a middleman between the producer and the consumers. Always remember, they are the middleman between the producer or the supplier and the end consumers. As you can see from this particular slide, on one end there is a producer, a manufacturing company, a a particular supplier, and here we have the retail outlet through which the product is being sold to the customers using the push strategy. The next one is your uh, important functions of retailer. As we see, the suppliers need to know certain things from the retailer. These are, first of all, estimate of category sales, how much product is being sold at what counters. Based on that, the supplier will decide the production, they will decide the procurement of the inventory, they will decide on the channel decisions, they will decide on the overall supply chain management decisions, inventory turnover rates, feedback on the competitors, what competitors are selling, what is their price, what are their offerings, how they are different from us. Then level of customer returns. If the customers are not satisfied, then the returns would be higher. All these information they want to collect it from the retailer, and that is why the retailer's function is very important. They are one of the crucial member in the channel who are responsible for not only selling the products to the end consumers, but also getting the feedback, providing the information which is indicated over here on the slide. Now suppliers also wants to know certain things from the customers, but supplier directly cannot reach the customers, and that is why they want the retailer in the chain, because retailers are the connecting link between the producer and the consumers. They are going to connect with the customers. They are the touch point through which the customer will engage in the transaction. So the suppliers are interested to know from the customers through the retailer as to what is their attitude towards the style and the models which are being launched in the product or the particular services, the varieties, anything. It can be the feedback can be good, the attitude would be just in correspondence to that only, whether you like the product or not. All these information the supplier wants to collect so that they can do the modification, improvisations and improvement in the existing product, and they can revise their marketing mix strategy time to time according to the product life cycle stages. This is possible only when if you know the attitude and overall behavior of the customers towards the product, towards the brand. Then extent of brand loyalty from the customer's end tells the supplier as to whether the customer would recommend the brand to others or not. Today, we are living in the era which is called as 5A, where we are not just asking the customers to purchase the product, but we are just trying to appeal the customers. Then we are requesting the customer to act, and then we are trying to make the customers the advocate for the brand. And these are the things which are emerging up because of the digital marketing practices. Earlier, the company wanted to just create the awareness of the brand. Today, the companies are not limiting their functions, or the marketers are not just sitting only on creating awareness of the brand, but they also want to create the brand loyals, because the loyal customers will become the advocate and they will recommend the product strongly to other customers also. So extent of brand loyalty, the supplier will get to know from the retailer through the customers, and then the supplier will also get to know about the willingness to pay a premium or the additional price for the superior quality. Some customers are always ready for paying a premium price if the quality is better. So that is possible only when if you are happy with the brand, then only you will go for trying something else. For example, Parle-G, the small pack, the normal pack of Parle-G glucose biscuit comes for 5 rupees. There are other customers who are ready to pay extra price for the Parle Platina collection, which is for the people, those who can afford superior quality at some premium price. So these are the examples as to why the retailers are very important in the channel and why they act as a connecting link between the producers and the consumers. Is that point clear to everyone?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. Now, moving ahead, when we talk about retailing function can be understood very well through the types of retail. as we can see, there are two categories of retail everywhere. These are being classified as the unorganized retail and the organized retail. Unorganized retail, as you can see from the pictures over here, a woman with her child is selling the vegetable on the roadside, is an example of the unorganized retail. The roadside vendor just offering the clothes to the customers passing nearby is an example of unorganized retail. Kirana store, the products are being stuffed inside. You don't have the option to test and compare every product, whatever you want. It is an example of organized retail. In India, still more than 80% of the retail sales comes from the unorganized sector. There is a very huge scope of just expansion of the organized retail. As you can see, the malls are coming up, multinational companies are coming up, foreign direct investment in single brand retail has been allowed. In multi-brand retail, there is 51 to 49% ratio. All these are the changes in the policies which are just helping the retail sector to get that particular look, the structured look, which we call it as the organized retail sector. Unorganized retail का आपने देखिए, ये example है unorganized retail का. These are the pictures which I have personally taken, click from my phone, so that I can show you कि अनऑर्गेनाइज्ड रिटेल कैसा होता है. आप देखिए यहाँ पे रोड साइड में ये कपड़े बेच रही है, ये किराना वाला है, ये गाड़ी वाला आके रुका, उसको वो गोभी बेच रहा है. तो ये क्या है? ये अनऑर्गेनाइज्ड रिटेल है. Now when we see the organized retail, why they are being called as organized retail? Because they have the particular shelves which are well organized, or they are being organized by departments. For example, आप जब एक मॉल में जाते हैं तो आपको इलेक्ट्रॉनिक गुड्स के लिए एक अलग मिलता है सेगमेंट, FMCG के लिए अलग मिलता है, अपरेल के लिए आपको अलग मिलता है सेक्शन. तो ये क्या है? ऑर्गेनाइज्ड वे में चीजें रखी हुई हैं. हर एक चीज एक के ऊपर एक नहीं है. आप वहां जाके कंपेयर कर सकते हैं. यू कैन मेक द कंपैरिजन, यू कैन चेक द प्राइस, you can check the packaging, you can compare the between the brands, their quality, ingredients and everything. This is possible only in the case of organized retail. As you can see in the picture, they have clearly mentioned as to what the product categories are. डेयरी प्रोडक्ट्स के लिए एक अलग कैटेगरी है, स्नैक्स आइटम्स के लिए एक अलग कैटेगरी है, उसके बाद आपको कुछ और आइटम्स लेने हैं तो उसके लिए अलग कैटेगरी है. अपरेल हो सकता है, एक्सेसरीज हो सकता है, पर्सनल केयर में परफ्यूम्स हो सकते हैं, या कुछ कॉस्मेटिक रेंज हो सकती है. ये सब आपको मॉल्स में दिखता होगा. तो वो ऑर्गेनाइज वे में रखा हुआ है, इसीलिए उसको ऑर्गेनाइज वे रिटेल बोला जाता है. These are the pictures which I have taken just to show you how the organized retail has been different from the unorganized retail. So is the point clear to all regarding the organized versus unorganized retail?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now talking about the distribution channel and their sorting process. So as you can see from the picture right now, this is the screenshot which I have taken from the Philip Kotler's book. Here you can find the n number of manufacturers. Manufacturer for brand A, for brand B, brand C, brand D, E and F. Now here all these manufacturers will sell their products to the wholesaler or the distributor. These wholesalers or the distributors will sell in assortments to the retailer. From the retailer, the customers will come and collect, or they can purchase their favorite brands. Brand A customers will also come, B customers will also come, those who prefer brand C will also come. So retailer is the connecting link between the customers and the manufacturers. They are the end points where the possibility of adding value to the customer is there. They are responsible for addition of the value in terms of after sales service, providing the distribution, then services, other services, जो भी है, sales service and delivery, ये सारी चीजें जो हैं ये रिटेलर एंड से पॉसिबल होती हैं. ये रिटेलर इसलिए इतना इंपॉर्टेंट है. अगर आपका प्रोडक्ट बहुत अच्छा है डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर भी बहुत अच्छा है, लेकिन अगर रिटेलर सही नहीं है तो कस्टमर तक वो प्रोडक्ट आने के बाद में भी कस्टमर सेटिस्फाई नहीं होगा। तो यहाँ पर सेल्स, सर्विस और डिलीवरी चैनल्स को इधर इस पॉइंट पे मेजर किया जाता है और उसको कंपेयर किया जाता है, उसको इम्प्रूव किया जाता है। सो दीज आर द फंक्शंस ऑफ द चैनल। समझ में आया?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So these are the
Yes,
major.
sir.
Thank you. These are the major retailers in India: Shoppers Stop, Westside, Pantaloon, Lifestyle, RPG, Crossword, Tata Group, Reliance, etc. There is a very long list. अभी बात करते हैं कैटेगरीज ऑफ ऑर्गेनाइज्ड रिटेल। कॉर्पोरेट हाउसेस का अपना खुद का एक रिटेल स्टोर होता है, जैसे हर्बल लाइफ प्रोडक्ट का अपना एक चेन है, वो हर्बल लाइफ के प्रोडक्ट सेल करते हैं। कॉर्पोरेट हाउसेस में आपका आरपीजी, इनका फूड वर्ल्ड करके एक है, हेल्थ एंड ग्लो एक्सेट्रा। आईटीसी का विल्स लाइफस्टाइल करके स्टोर होते हैं। रहेजा ग्रुप का शॉपर स्टॉप आपको पता ही होगा, और क्रॉसवर्ड ये रहेजा ग्रुप का है। देन वी हैव डेडिकेटेड ब्रांड आउटलेट्स, जहां पर केवल वही एक्सक्लूसिव ब्रांड मिलता है, ठीक है। तो एक्सक्लूसिव डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन यहाँ पर है, नाइके, रिबॉक, जोडियक, वुडलैंड एक्सेट्रा। देन मल्टी ब्रांड आउटलेट में विजय सेल्स, यही पुणे में ही आपको कई जगह पे मिल जाएगा मल्टी ब्रांड। विवेक सेल्स एक्सेट्रा, साउथ में विवेक है और यहाँ पर विजय है। देन मैन्युफैक्चरर्स और एक्सपोर्टर आउटलेट्स में आपके पास में पैंटालून है, बाटा एग्जाम्पल है, रेड चीफ है। ये सब मैन्युफैक्चरर्स और एक्सपोर्टर आउटलेट्स हैं। कोई बारामती का है अगर यहाँ पे स्टूडेंट, तो वो शायद जानता होगा कि बारामती में कॉटन किंग की फैक्ट्री है, और कॉटन किंग की फैक्ट्री से अटैच्ड उनका शोरूम है, जहां पर आपको राउंड द ईयर 50% डिस्काउंट में कॉटन किंग के कपड़े मिलते हैं। उसमें एक माइनर सा डिफेक्ट होता है जो देखने में भी नहीं दिखता, बट दे आर सेलिंग इट। दैट इज कॉल्ड एज द मैन्युफैक्चरर आउटलेट। कोई है हमारे क्लास में बारामती का? नासिक का कोई है? सूला की आप लोगों ने वाइन की फैक्ट्री देखी होगी, और वहां पे सूला का उनका रेस्टोरेंट भी है। दे ऑफर इट एट डिस्काउंट टू द कस्टमर्स। So these are the examples.
हाँ सर।
Okay. कहाँ के रहने वाले हैं आप?
नासिक।
नासिक में। सूला में गए हैं कभी आप? सूला?
नहीं सर, हमारे पास में ही है।
ओके।
नहीं।
ओके। सो ऑर्गेनाइज्ड रिटेल अभी आप लोगों ने देख लिया, दे आर बीन ऑर्गेनाइज्ड बाय द डिपार्टमेंट्स। अभी आपने ये रिटेल स्टोर का एग्जांपल देखा। शूज खरीदना है तो शू के वहां पे चले गए, आपको अगर गिफ्ट वगैरह खरीदना है तो आर्कीज के यहाँ पे चले गए, आपको अगर टॉयज खरीदने तो हैमलेस के यहाँ पर चले गए, मूवी देखनी है तो पीवीआर में चले गए, कुछ खाना है तो मैकडी में चले गए। ऑर्गेनाइज्ड रिटेल, सब कुछ वहाँ वेल ऑर्गेनाइज्ड है। इवन एक सिंगल मॉल के अंदर आप देखेंगे तो आपको प्रॉपर ऑर्गेनाइज्ड स्टोर्स मिलेंगे। सबसे टॉप के फ्लोर में फूड कोर्ट रखा जाता है या सबसे बेसमेंट में रखा जाता है। उसका रीजन ये कि अगर कस्टमर को घुसते ही खाना दे दोगे तो वो खा के बाहर निकल जाएगा, दोबारा शॉपिंग नहीं करेगा वो। इसीलिए फूड कोर्ट को टॉप में रखा जाता है, ताकि कस्टमर एटलीस्ट जाते जाते कुछ तो देखेगा और वो शॉपिंग करेगा, राइट। तो ये सब ऑर्गेनाइज्ड रिटेल की स्ट्रैटेजीज हैं। नाउ we are moving ahead and we will try to understand the retail functions. These are the retail functions which are very important. पहला तो लॉयल्टी प्रोग्राम्स, कस्टमर को लॉयल्टी कार्ड्स देना, डिस्काउंट ऑफर्स देना, ये सब रिटेलर करता है, राइट। फ्लोर एंड शॉप ऑपरेशन, कहीं पर आप मॉल पे चले जाइए, आप देखेंगे जब प्रोडक्ट एक शेल्फ से गायब होता है, कम होता है, डी मार्ट में फॉर एग्जांपल, तो डी मार्ट वाले क्या करते हैं, जितना लोग खरीदते हैं उससे उतना ही लोग उसमें शेल्फ में प्रोडक्ट लगाते जाते हैं, राइट। खाली नहीं दिखना चाहिए शेल्फ। दैट इज कॉल्ड एज फ्लोर एंड शॉप ऑपरेशन। वेयर हाउस में इन्वेंट्री को चेक करते रहना, स्टोर में जो कुछ भी है उसका एक बार चेक करते रहना, कहीं पर कुछ भी ऐसा इधर उधर ना पड़ा हो, सामान ना पड़ा हो, कस्टमर को इजीली एक्सेस हो प्रोडक्ट्स का, ये सारी चीज़ें फ्लोर एंड शॉप ऑपरेशंस में आती हैं। सोर्सिंग एंड बाइंग का मतलब ये होता है since you have to sell the product at a margin which is called as profit to the end customer, so you have to first of all select your distributor so that you get the profit. Inventory control आपके हाथ में रहता है, जो प्रोडक्ट बिक रहा है उसको ही रखना है, जो नहीं बिक रहा है उसको रखने की जरूरत नहीं। जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल जिस एरिया में मैं रहता हूँ उस एरिया में ये 1000-2000 रुपए वाले फ़ोन बहुत कम बिकते हैं। रीज़न क्या है कि वो एरिया सबसे प्राइम प्रॉपर लोकेशन में आता है, तो वहाँ पर आप जब भी कभी जाओगे तो आपको वहाँ पर सैमसंग गैलेक्सी का 1.5 लाख रुपए का जो Z सीरीज का फोन आया अभी, वो आपको दिखेगा। उसके बाद फिर आप देखोगे एप्पल के वहाँ पे स्टोर्स हैं। उसके बाद आपको दिखेगा कि हर एक ब्रांड का, वन प्लस का भी आपको वहाँ पर स्टोर मिलेगा और सभी प्रीमियम ब्रांड्स आपको मिलेंगे। क्यों? क्योंकि वो मार्केट वैसी है, रिटेलर वही रखता है जो बिकता है। अगर आप थोड़ा सा आगे चले जाओगे तो मेरे घर के आगे लोहगांव है। इन द लोहगांव एरिया यू विल फाइंड दैट द कस्टमर्स दे डोंट बाई द एक्सपेंसिव हैंडसेट सो मच। तो वहाँ की मार्केट में 10 से 15 हज़ार रुपए तक मैक्सिमम इस रेंज के स्मार्टफोन रहते हैं, उसके ऊपर वो स्मार्टफोन नहीं रखते। वो कहते हैं कि अगर आपको चाहिए तो हम आपके लिए मंगवा के दे देंगे। सो ये सारी चीजें जो है ये रिटेलर सेलेक्ट डिसाइड करता है, इसको बोलते हैं इन्वेंट्री कंट्रोल। लॉस प्रिवेंशन इज अगेन इंपॉर्टेंट फंक्शन ऑफ द रिटेलर। उसको ये देखना है कि जो स्टॉक रखा हुआ पहले उसको बेचो, बाद में दूसरा ऑर्डर करो, और इस तरीके से आप आपके लॉस को कवर अप कर सकते हैं। क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस एंड कंट्रोल, रिटेलर को पता है कि कस्टमर तभी लेगा जब उसके यहाँ क्वालिटी अच्छी होगी। फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर आप कभी भी बिग बाजार में जाते हैं, राइट, आप कभी भी डी मार्ट में जाते हैं और वहाँ पर जाके कुछ भी अगर आप ग्रोसरी आइटम फॉर एग्जांपल खरीद रहे हैं, तो आप देखेंगे जो प्रोडक्ट खराब होता है, पैकेट उसके डैमेज हो जाते हैं, उसको वो साइड में निकाल के रख देते हैं। क्यों? क्योंकि अगर वो डैमेज पैकेट को अगर वो सेल करेंगे कस्टमर को, तो उससे उनका फीडबैक जो है वो खराब होगा। सो क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस और कंट्रोल ये रिटेलर के हाथ में होता है। वो देखता है कि क्या कस्टमर को ये प्रोडक्ट सेल करने लायक है कि नहीं, वेदर द प्रोडक्ट इज इन दैट पर्टिकुलर स्टेज, वेदर वी कैन सेल द प्रोडक्ट टू द कस्टमर्स और नॉट। मर्चेंडाइजिंग का मतलब यही होता है कि आपको क्या स्टॉक मंगाना है, क्या डिस्प्ले करना है, किस तरीके से सीजन वाइज आपको चेंजेस करने। सो दीज आर द मेजर फंक्शंस ऑफ द रिटेलिंग। इज द पॉइंट क्लियर टू ऑल?
यस सर।
कोई क्वेश्चन
Yes, sir.
किसी के? ओके, किसी
No,
के
sir.
कोई क्वेश्चंस?
सर मैं
जी
हेलो
बोलिए। हाँ जी बोलिए।
सर पेट्रोल पंप किस में है? रिटेलर में ही आएगा?
पेट्रोल पंप
पेट्रोल
डीलर्स
पंप
होते हैं एक्चुअली, दे आर द रिटेलर्स बट दे आर एक्चुअली द डीलर्स। इनके ऊपर जो रहता है वो एजेंसीज हैं, इंडियन ऑयल, भारत पेट्रोलियम, शेल, रिलायंस, ये सब कंपनीज हैं, वो डायरेक्टली इनके थ्रू सेल करती हैं, बट देयर प्राइसेस आर रेगुलेटेड बाय द गवर्नमेंट। ओके।
यस सर।
आपको टायर का केस बताता हूँ। जो ये आप गाड़ियों में टायर लगाते हैं, ये टायर के केस में इनके केवल डीलर होते हैं, मैन्युफैक्चरर से केवल डीलर के पास में आता है टायर। रीजन इसका ये है, डिस्ट्रीब्यूटरशिप लेने के लिए आपको करोड़ों रुपए इन्वेस्ट करने पड़ेंगे, जो टायर के केस में पॉसिबल नहीं है। अभी आपको तो, हम लोगों की जो नॉर्मल गाड़ियां हैं उसमें हम टायर डलवाते हैं तो 3,000 4,000 रुपए का एक टायर आता है 4 व्हीलर का। लेकिन अगर आप प्रीमियम अगर लेते हैं व्हीकल, फॉर एग्जांपल मर्सिडीज, ऑडी, पोर्श, तो इनके टायर स्टार्ट होते हैं 50,000 रुपए से। 50,000 रुपए का एक टायर। अगर आप किसी को वो टायर का डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर बनना है तो वो कितना इन्वेस्टमेंट करेगा? तो इसलिए टायर के केस में आपको केवल डीलर्स मिलते हैं। वो डीलर डायरेक्टली माल उठाते हैं कंपनी से और कस्टमर को सेल करते हैं। आगे बढ़े। So
Yes,
we
sir.
are now moving
Yes.
ahead straight to the another topic, that is wholesaling. Wholesaling means all those activities which are involved in selling the goods and services, or those buying for resale or business use. Wholesalers basically they are those players who are engaged primarily in wholesaling activity. Producer से या supplier से लेके रिटेलर को, फ्रेंचाइजी को या नेक्स्ट चैनल मेंबर को देने वाले ये होलसेलर होते हैं। ये बल्क क्वांटिटी में प्रोड्यूसर से लेते हैं और स्मॉल क्वांटिटी में रिटेलर को, फ्रेंचाइजीज को सेल करते हैं। होलसेलर की जरूरत क्यों पड़ती है? सो दीज आर द फंक्शंस ऑफ होलसेलर्स। पहला तो प्रोडक्ट को सेल करना और प्रमोट करना अपने एरिया में। अब मैन्युफैक्चरर हर एरिया में जाके नहीं कर सकता, उसके लिए उसको डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर चाहिए। हर एक एरिया में डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर दे दिए, अब वो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर अपने एरिया में सेलिंग करेगा, प्रमोट करेगा, बिजनेस को आगे बढ़ाएगा। देन बाइंग एंड असॉर्टमेंट बिल्डिंग, दे manufacturers use the wholesaler as the channel partner for purchasing the products in bulk quantity, in assortment building, bulk breaking, warehousing, because manufacturer does not have their warehouses in that much large capacities, so they need the wholesalers who can store the product in their warehouses, thereby supporting the transporting function, financing function, risk bearing function, providing the market information to the supplier, and then other management services, as I said, that is after sales services and providing the advice to the company or to the marketer. So these are the major functions of the wholesaler. इसमें से किसी को कोई डाउट है, कोई क्वेश्चंस है?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Anyone having any questions, please? ठीक है. So we are now moving to the last slide for the day. Types of wholesaler. Types of wholesaler की अगर बात की जाए तो यहाँ पर आपके सामने है merchant wholesaler, manufacturer sales branches and offices, and then the brokers and the agent. Merchant wholesalers क्या होते हैं? They are independently owned business organizations which take the title to the merchandise which they handle. मतलब इन्होंने क्या किया? इन्होंने मैन्युफैक्चरर से बल्क क्वांटिटी में ले लिया और अब ये इंडिपेंडेंटली काम कर रहे हैं. मर्चेंट होलसेलर. मैन्युफैक्चरर सेल्स ब्रांचेस एंड ऑफिसेस क्या करते हैं? दे आर द होलसेलर्स बाय फंक्शन. What they are doing is they are taking the goods and the services from the manufacturer, and then they are selling it with the help of the manufacturer sales branches and offices across the markets. तो यहाँ पर ये कनेक्टेड होते हैं कंपनी से और ये कंपनी अपने हिसाब से अपने डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन नेटवर्क क्रिएट करती है और अगर किसी को प्रोडक्ट चाहिए तो उस एरिया के डेडिकेटेड डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स हैं, वो रिटेलर बनाते हैं, वो कंपनी को रिस्पॉन्ड करते हैं. ब्रोकर्स एंड एजेंट क्या होते हैं? दे डोंट टेक द टाइटल. वो केवल किसी का ऑर्डर आया तो वो ब्रोकरेज लेते हैं अपनी, एजेंट अपना कमीशन लेते हैं और वो प्रोडक्ट्स सप्लाई कर देते हैं. ये आपको इंडस्ट्रियल गुड्स के केस में ज्यादा दिखेगा, जहां पर एजेंट्स या ब्रोकर्स होते हैं जो डील करवाते हैं, फिक्स करवाते हैं डील, नेगोशिएट करवाते हैं और फाइनली अपना कमीशन लेके आगे हट जाते हैं. प्रॉपर्टी के केस में आपने देखा होगा, एक आदमी की प्रॉपर्टी है, उसको सेल करना है तो ये एजेंट आ जाता है, या एक आदमी की प्रॉपर्टी है, उसको रेंट पे उठाना है फ्लैट अपना, तो वो एजेंट्स को लेके आता है. एजेंट क्या करता है? दूसरे को देता है, उससे वो एक महीने का रेंट लेता है कमीशन, और यहाँ पर इधर इससे भी जो ओनर है उससे भी कमीशन खाता है. समझ में आ गया आपको? जब बल्क में भी प्रॉपर्टीज की सेलिंग होती है तो वहां पर भी ब्रोकर्स या एजेंट यूज होते हैं. किसी के पास में 7,000 एकड़ का प्रोजेक्ट है, किसी के पास में 7 लाख स्क्वायर फीट का प्रोजेक्ट है. फॉर एग्जांपल आपने देखा होगा नांदेड़ सिटी, 7 लाख स्क्वायर फीट का प्रोजेक्ट है, उसमें कितने सारे फार्मर्स से लैंड एक्वायर किया गया होगा, तो उधर ब्रोकर्स या एजेंट्स यूज किए गए. उन्होंने सबको इकट्ठा किया, सबसे लैंड लिया, एक अमाउंट ऑफ लैंड फिर उन्होंने हैंड ओवर किया, तब जाके ये नांदेड़ सिटी जो पुणे में है 7 लाख स्क्वायर फीट में बनी है, तब वो बन पाई. ब्रोकर्स और एजेंट का बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रोल है, हर जगह पे होता है. क्लियर हुआ आप सभी लोगों को? कोई डाउट?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, so now we are left out with only 2 to 3 topics, very small topics in this chapter, and after this I'm sure that आपका जो सिलेबस है एक हफ्ते के अंदर अब खत्म हो सकता है. Thank you everyone. Now it's time to leave because I have immediately another lecture which I have to take. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Thank you. Bye bye. है।